Oh, oh. Good morning. My name's Ray Ballou. I've been riding Royal for a couple of years now. Understand he's going and you're purchasing him, and I think that's fantastic. All I want to do, you can see I've trimmed a couple of horses' feet, so I'm a little dirty, and it's been raining around here, so he's not as good as he normally looks, but he looks pretty good. But I want to provide you, as a future owners, with just a little bit of the groundwork that I've done with him and a little under saddle work. It's nothing great, but sometimes it's good to be able to see what he's learned and start from there or continue from there. Or if you want to start from scratch, that way you're a trainer, that's all your business, and that's great. I just wanted to let you know what he knew if you had the desire to walk with him or lead him or move him out of your way or desensitize him, anything like that. I just wanted to give you a real quick review of what he's done. Nothing in detail, but just, where his head is and where mine is, both on the ground and under saddle. And we started him a couple of years ago with, some good basic groundwork and went through the fundamentals with him and rode him, and his first ride was fantastic. Michelle took his first ride and he did everything. And I usually use verbals with walk. I cluck the trot and I kiss the canter. And he stops off his seat and turns off his shoulders, hindquarters, some side passing. Um, really, really a good horse. For a stallion, his personality is just fantastic. So I just wanted to show you a little bit. And like I said, it gives you an idea of what he knows and what he doesn't know. And so his feet are obviously very good. Up, up, up. And he brings them up. No problem. I need to trim his feet a little bit. And I won't do everything to the left and to the right, although we know it should go left and right. But see, he gives leg easily. But I won't do left and right because, as you know, what you do to the left, you do to the right. Pretty equally on both sides. So when I lead him, I just myself like a proper lead, that I like to do it on a loose line, and I expect him to stay his head just about at my shoulder, no matter what I do. Tighten this up just a little bit here. There we go. Attaboy, Roy. And so what I'll do here is I'll just say, walk on, let's go. And then I go loose line, and I expect him to stay with me. Up, up, up. And I use up to bring him up. If I turn into him, head staying where it should be at my shoulder, and we'll walk towards the camera here. Up, come on. And when I stop, I expect him to stop on a loose line. When I back up, I expect him to back up with me on a loose line. And then if we go forward, same thing. Walk on. Oh. And then back up. And that's what I do for proper lead. And then if I trot off, I have him for a cluck and he trots off with me. So that's proper lead. I showed you the feet. I like to come in and put it to the side like that. And I'm big on personal space. So when I'm with a horse, I want him to stay where I put him. And I don't want, the vet talking to him and he's all over the place. So I tell him, back up, back. Hey, pay attention, back up. And on the finger, I want him just backing up as long as I'm wiggling his finger. And I've used the phases. So when I taught him, I did finger, wrist, elbow, and then arm at the beginning. And then, as you know, they back off on these phases. So now with the finger, he backs up. And calling him in, I do the same thing. Ask for him to come and then loose line. As you know, pressure is the motivator and the release of pressure is the teacher. So that's what I do for basically personal space. And so if I need him to go back, I tell him to go back. Desensitization, first, crazy good. and I take the lead line, as you know, throw it all over him. And a lot of that obviously is your body control to tell him that, you know, you're giving him a motivator here, but you're asking him to stand still based on your body language as well. So this is all desensitization, and we've done a lot of this, and does not have a problem with it, obviously. And then I can show you real quickly with the tarp. I haven't done a lot of this stuff. I usually, when it's new, I do the approach and release method. Approach and retreat, I'm sorry. And then I put that there. Top. Got no problem with the top either. You can do what you want with them with the tarp. I'm just showing you, like I said, quickly, just so you have an idea of what he's coming from and what he knows. We'll drop that. Here we'll just walk him over the big scary tarp. And you can see he's not very afraid. And we'll lead him by himself. Walk on. Walk on. And he goes over it nicely. Good boy. And we'll get rid of this real quickly. I'll bring him back out here. And I'll face him to you. And I'll show you just a little bit of the lateral flexion. And when I do lateral flexion, I want them to stand still. I don't want them moving, but I want that head to flex with very little. They will do it on both sides on this one. And you can see I just raise it, and that head gets tucked in. I'll show you from the side. Okay, from here, and whoa, 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 whoa. You can see very little pressure. That head comes tucking in. And we'll do the vertical flexion. Vertical flexion, I just use the pole. It helps to get that head down. Of course, when he gets pole pressure from the bridle, he lowers that head as well. And you can see he's really an easygoing guy. And he'll keep it down there as long as I want. Good for bridling, obviously, because you want that horse to be right here when you bridle him. So that's the lateral flexion. They'll give into pressure. I want him to, instead of come to me, I want him to go to the pressure. And we've done all that. And I'll do the hind quarter control, where I'll put a little pressure on the hind quarter. I want those back feet to cross over each other. I want to swivel as best as possible. Good boy. Do that both left and right, and he does it left and right. And then, of course, the 4-quarter control. Not as good there, but I want those feet crossing over. And you can see that. Then I'm going to back him up. And let me get out here a little bit so you can see him. So when I'm here, I'm going to back him up. Then I want him going off my hand. Walk on. So I just point with my hand and ask him to go into a circle. I try to stand still because, as you know, the lead mare stands still and the other horses move around. And on a loose line, I want him just walking. And what I've taught them is to face me when I bend towards their hindquarters. And I've also taught him to trot on a cluck and to canter on a kiss. So right here, I'll bend towards his hindquarters, ask him to face me. Once he faces me, I'll point in the opposite direction and ask him to walk. Do a couple turns here. On this next time he comes by my shoulder, I'll bend towards his hindquarters slightly and ask him to face me. So right here, I'll ask him to face me all the way. Thank you there, Royal. I'm going to ask him to go off to the right. Walk on. And then I'm going to cluck. When I cluck, he goes into a trot, and I want him to stay in a trot. And the same thing on the saddle. If I cluck, he goes leg, however your instructor is going to teach you. I do loose rein Western, and I just cluck. I don't, unless he doesn't listen, then I get a phased approach where if he doesn't listen, I do light to heavier to whatever's required. Once he gives it to me at whatever phase, the total pressure comes off. So I'm going to bend him here, and we'll go trot in the other direction. Good boy. There you go. And then, 3 to 5 seconds association. So, you cluck, and then you got 3 to 5 seconds to let him get into that trot. And then he associates the cluck with the trot. Much beyond that, 10 seconds or so, and he's not going to associate the cluck with the trot. So just a training technique that you all know, I'm sure. And I'll see on the short ones if he'll canter for me. I'll kiss. Good boy. Come on. Good boy. Good boy, Royal. Good boy. Walk on. Good boy. Good boy, Royal. I want a little looser line here. Good boy. And then I'll ask him to come in here. And then I'll ask him to back away from me. And which is great when you're talking to another person or the vets here. Back. Stays where he step back. I'm going to ask him to come forward. He takes a step forward and go back to his spot. I expect him to stay there unless two things. I go up to him and I love on him, or I ask him to come to me. But he doesn't have an option otherwise. That's pretty much the ground training aspect. Is more or less the, I do it up against the rail for trailering, things like that. Just trying to think of what else I can show you. These are all the basics of the ground training, and I'll put one together for you on the saddle here shortly. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm hoping to meet you next week or whenever you come down to pick up Royal. Love to get together with you. I'll show you the next video on the saddle.